For nearly half a century, a small machine constructed by humanity has been drifting deeper and deeper into the darkness of interstellar music space. It was never supposed to last this long. When Voyager 1 launched in 1977, engineers expected it to operate for only a few years before its music systems slowly failed. Instead, it kept going, crossing the outer planets, leaving the music solar system, and continuing to whisper data back to Earth from distances no spacecraft had ever reached. For decades, those transmissions were predictable, quiet, routine, a steady music heartbeat from the edge of the sun's influence. But recently, something changed. The signals coming from Voyager no longer behaved the way they always had. The timing of music, the transmission shifted. Old sensors suddenly activated again. Data packets began arriving in patterns that engineers could not explain. Snorts, and then the music spacecraft did something even more unsettling. It began responding to commands before those commands were fully sent. Soon after, Voyager, music, slowly adjusted its course and pointed itself toward an apparently empty region of deep space. A region where music, no star, planet, or dust cloud should exist. Yet its instruments' music began detecting faint signals, strange electromagnetic patterns, and something that looked less like noise and more like a message. And the deeper scientists looked into those signals, the more disturbing the possibility became. Because whatever Voyager has encountered out there may not just be a random phenomenon. It may be something that was waiting. When Voyager 1 left Earth in 1977, its mission was music, relatively simple. The spacecraft was designed to perform flybys of Jupiter and Saturn, capture photographs, measure magnetic, music fields, and send scientific data back to Earth. NASA engineers estimated that the probe would remain operational for about 5 years, maybe 10 if everything went perfectly. Its onboard computer was extremely limited, less powerful than a modern calculator, and its memory capacity was barely enough to store even the simplest data, music sets. Yet, after completing its original planetary mission, the spacecraft continued operating far beyond expectations. Instead of shutting down, it kept transmitting measurements from the outer regions of the music solar system. NASA recognized that the probe still had scientific value, and the mission was extended. Voyager gradually transitioned from being a planetary explorer into something far more ambitious, an interstellar scout traveling toward the edge of the sun's influence. Year after year, the spacecraft continued to function in an environment colder and emptier than anything it had been designed to survive. Its systems were powered by the slow radioactive decay of plutonium, generating just enough electricity, music, to keep a handful of instruments alive. Despite being built with 1970s technology, the probe continued transmitting information about cosmic rays, solar wind, and magnetic fields in the farthest reaches of the solar system. Then, in 2012, Voyager crossed a historic boundary. It passed beyond the heliosphere, the invisible bubble created by the sun's magnetic influence, and officially entered interstellar space. Out there, where particles are scarce and temperatures are near absolute zero, the spacecraft, kept working. Over time, it became more than just a probe. It became a symbol of exploration, resilience, and humanity's attempt to reach beyond its own cosmic neighborhood. But no one ever expected what would happen next. For decades, Voyager 1's transmissions were remarkably stable. The spacecraft, sent a steady stream of telemetry, temperature readings, magnetic field measurements, particle density, music data. The signals were weak but consistent, arriving at Earth like a slow, rhythmic pulse from the edge of the solar system. Engineers understood exactly how the probe behaved. Even with its aging hardware, the pattern of communication rarely changed. But sometime in late 2023, something unusual began to appear in the data stream. At first, it seemed minor, just small irregularities in the timing of the transmissions. Occasionally, a packet would arrive slightly earlier or later than expected. NASA engineers initially attributed this music to signal interference, cosmic radiation, or the natural degradation of electronics that had been operating for nearly half a century. Yet, the anomalies did not disappear. Instead, they became more noticeable. The bursts of data began arriving closer together, forming compressed sequences that looked almost rhythmic, as if the spacecraft music were sending tightly packed pulses rather than its usual slow pattern of communication. Then, another unexpected event occurred. A thermal sensor that had long been assumed to be inactive suddenly began reporting measurements again. Even more puzzling, music. The readings revealed a repeating pattern of temperature changes. The data showed a cycle of warming followed by cooling occurring approximately every 4.88 hours. In the environment surrounding Voyager, such fluctuations should not exist. The spacecraft was drifting through an extremely cold region of interstellar space where no nearby energy sources were present. The anomalies did not stop there. Engineers soon noticed something far stranger in the incoming telemetry. Some packets, of data appear to contain responses to commands that had not yet been fully transmitted from Earth. In other words, Voyager seemed to reply before receiving the instruction. The probe had no artificial intelligence, no predictive algorithms, and no capability to anticipate future music commands. Yet, the sequence of signals suggested a level of synchronization that the spacecraft's simple systems should not be capable of producing. As the data continued to arrive, the possibility that this was merely a hardware malfunction began to look less convincing. Something about the behavior, of the spacecraft had clearly changed. Not long after the strange transmission patterns were detected, engineers noticed another anomaly in the spacecraft's behavior. Voyager had begun adjusting its orientation in space. At first, the change appeared subtle, the kind of minor drift that can occur when a spacecraft's attitude, control system experiences a small error. But as the telemetry continued arriving, the pattern became clearer. Using the small thrusters that still contained traces of fuel, the probe had initiated a series of tiny burns that slowly altered its trajectory. The maneuver did not resemble a random malfunction. The orientation changes were controlled and gradual, suggesting a deliberate adjustment rather than chaotic movement. NASA attempted to correct the shift by sending override commands, assuming the spacecraft's guidance system might have glitched. The commands were received by the probe exactly as expected. The telemetry confirmed that Voyager acknowledged them, yet the spacecraft did not follow them. For the first time in its long history, Voyager accepted instructions and then ignored them. The probe continued to maintain its new orientation, pointing steadily toward a region of space that appeared completely empty. The destination toward which Voyager was now facing looked unremarkable when viewed from Earth. Telescopes, detected no stars, no planets, and no visible dust clouds in that direction. It was simply a dark patch of interstellar space, indistinguishable from thousands of other empty regions scattered across the sky. Yet Voyager's instruments, began detecting something subtle within that darkness. Embedded within the background noise of space was a faint repeating signal. The frequency, was weak but consistent, appearing as a pulsed rhythm buried deep in the sensor data. When researchers compared it to Voyager's recent transmissions, they discovered something unsettling. The pattern matched the harmonics the spacecraft, itself had been emitting during the strange bursts of communication. It was as if the probe had aligned itself with a signal that resonated with its own transmissions. Soon after, another surprise appeared in the data stream. Cameras believed to have been permanently shut down suddenly began producing readings again, capturing what looked like a swirling spiral-shaped distortion, within an electromagnetic field. The phenomenon did not resemble a traditional image made of visible light. Instead, it appeared more like a map of fluctuating magnetic energy, pulsing and shifting against a background of otherwise motionless stars. As Voyager continued moving toward the unusual region it had aligned itself with, its instruments began detecting something that immediately concerned music. Scientists analyzing the data. The area ahead did not behave like normal interstellar space. Instead of showing music, the faint and predictable signals usually detected between stars, Voyager, music, sensors registered distortions that suggested space itself was behaving differently. One of the most unsettling observations involved the cosmic microwave background radiation. The ancient light left music over from the earliest moments of the universe. Under normal conditions, this radiation appears music uniform when measured across space. But in the region Voyager was approaching, the data suggested music that this background radiation was bending and warping in unexpected ways. It was as if the structure of space in that location had been altered or distorted. When scientists compared the coordinates with older astronomical records, they noticed music, something even more disturbing. A star that had been cataloged in earlier surveys during the 1990s was no longer visible. It had not dimmed or moved. It was simply gone, leaving no trace of heat, gravity, or debris that would normally follow a stellar event. Around the same time, Voyager transmitted another unusual signal hidden within its radio emissions. When music, researchers analyzed the data using spectrogram techniques, they discovered a rhythmic pulse embedded inside the transmission. Unlike the usual background hiss of deep space music, this signal contained a repeating pattern similar to a sonar-like echo. The timing between each pulse formed a precise interval that immediately caught the attention of scientists, music studying the signal. When snorts, the delay between pulses was calculated. The results suggested that the signal may have originated more than 13,000 years ago. The timing was even more music puzzling because the signal appeared to align almost perfectly with Voyager's current trajectory and speed. It was music as if the probe had arrived at exactly the right place in time to intercept it. Researchers began proposing explanations ranging from music, natural cosmic phenomena, to the possibility that the signal could represent some music kind of ancient beacon. Whatever the source might be, the discovery reinforced music, a growing suspicion among scientists studying the data. The strange transmissions, the missing star, and the warped region of space might not be isolated events. They could all be connected to the same unexplained phenomenon Voyager was now approaching. As the data for Voyager 1 continues to arrive on Earth, scientists are left facing a situation that few mission planners ever imagined when the spacecraft launched in 1977. What began as a simple planetary mission has now evolved into something far more mysterious. The probe, music, that once flew past Jupiter and Saturn is now operating in a region of space where familiar patterns no longer seem to apply. Music, its transmissions have shifted from the predictable rhythm engineers trusted for decades to signals filled with unusual timing and structured pulses. Music that resist easy explanation. The anomalies do not stop with the signals. Voyager has adjusted its orientation and pointed itself toward a seemingly empty region of interstellar space, a direction that telescopes once considered unremarkable. Yet, the spacecraft's instruments have detected faint repeating frequencies emerging from that darkness, patterns that appear to resonate with the very transmissions Voyager has been sending. Even sensors, music believed to be inactive, have begun reporting unusual readings, including repeating cycles, music of temperature changes that should not exist in such a cold and isolated environment. Each new packet of data raises another question about what the probe might be encountering beyond the boundary of the solar system. Then there is the region itself. Measurements suggest that space ahead of the spacecraft behaves in ways that scientists did not expect to see in the interstellar medium. Distortions appear in the cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint relic glow from the earliest moments of the universe. Astronomical comparisons with older sky surveys revealed something even more unsettling. A star once visible in earlier observations has vanished completely, leaving behind no detectable evidence of a supernova or gravitational music disturbance. Whatever exists in that region appears capable of altering the structure of space in ways that challenge existing theories. Perhaps the most puzzling discovery is the rhythmic signal embedded within Voyager's transmissions. When researchers analyzed its timing, they realized the pulse pattern suggested an origin thousands of years in the past, long before Voyager itself was ever launched. Somehow, that signal now aligns almost perfectly with the spacecraft's current path through space. Whether this coincidence is the result of a natural cosmic phenomenon or something more deliberate remains an open question. For now, scientists continue studying the data, attempting to separate measurable physics from the mysteries that still remain hidden in the noise. What makes this moment so remarkable is not just the possibility of discovering something new, but the realization that humanity's oldest deep space probe may be approaching a region of the universe we have never observed before. Voyager was built with simple electronics and limited memory. Yet, it continues to extend humanity's reach farther into the cosmos than any machine before it. Nearly half a century after its launch, the spacecraft still whispers information across billions of kilometers of empty space, allowing scientists to glimpse environments no human instrument has ever explored. Whether the strange signals and distortions turn out to be natural phenomena or the sign of something entirely unexpected, Voyager's journey has already transformed our understanding of the solar system and the space beyond it. The probe continues moving forward into the darkness, slowly approaching whatever lies ahead. And somewhere in that silent region between the stars, the next transmission for Voyager may reveal a piece of the music universe that humanity has never seen before. I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video and subscribe to help the channel grow. Every bit of support counts.